At the rehearsal dinner, my brother stood up and said I wouldn't be here without my amazing fiancée and my parents who paid for everything. I sat there. Because I paid for the photographer, the flowers, and the tux. After dinner, I pulled him aside. He said it's just easier to give them the credit. So I made it easier, told every vendor to bill him instead. The wedding started late while he scrambled for his wallet. I'm Drew. I'm 42, live outside Columbus, Ohio. I've worked the same job for over a decade, project manager at a construction firm. I'm not rich, but I'm stable. I own my house. I drive a truck I paid off years ago. I keep my head down and take care of my own. I only have one sibling, Matt. He's 35 and we couldn't be more different. Where I've been steady, he's been a mess. He dropped out of school, chased business ideas that all went nowhere, and he's been bailed out by our parents more times than I can count. They always acted like it was just bad luck or he's still finding his way. I used to help him too. When he couldn't make rent, I covered it. When he totaled his car, I co-signed a used one for him. That was years ago and I never got a dime back. I started pulling away after that. But I still tried to be civil. When he got engaged to Tara, I was surprised. Not that he found someone, he's always been good at talking people into liking him. But Tara seemed level-headed. She worked in HR, managed her life well. I thought maybe this was finally his turning point. Our parents were over the moon. They offered to pay for the wedding venue, catering, rehearsal dinner, and some decorations. A pretty big chunk of the bill. Then, a few months before the wedding, Matt came to me, said they were coming up short, and asked if I could help cover the other stuff. I asked what exactly, and he rattled off a list: photographer, florist, tuxedos, a few random vendor tips. He said it would be just under $10,000. I should have said no. I really should have. But I thought, this is his wedding. It's a big deal. And maybe this time he'll show some damn gratitude. I agreed, but I made it clear that I'd be paying vendors directly. I didn't want any mix-ups. I didn't trust him to handle it himself. Over the next 2 months, I was the one talking to the photographer, booking the florist, reserving tux rentals. Everything was locked in, paid from my own bank account. Matt never asked how it was going. He just assumed it was handled. The rehearsal dinner was the night before the wedding. It was held at a nice Italian restaurant our dad loves. About 40 people. Small, cozy, candlelit. A bunch of Tara's family had flown in. Everyone seemed happy. Dinner was fine. The food was good. People chatted and laughed. I sat near the end of the table with some cousins I hadn't seen in years. After dessert, my dad stood up and made a short speech. Thanked everyone for coming, said how proud he was of Matt, and welcomed Tara to the family. A few people clapped. Then Matt stood up. He raised his glass and smiled. I wouldn't be here without my amazing fiancée and my parents who paid for everything. The whole room clapped. A couple of Tara's aunts stood and gave our mom a hug. I just sat there, jaw locked, trying to keep my face still. I wasn't looking for applause. But a mention? Just a sentence? Nothing. I looked around the room. One of my cousins gave me a side glance, eyebrows raised. He knew. A few others did too. After dinner, I walked outside. Matt was standing with some of his friends by the curb, laughing. I waved him over. Hey, I said. You forgot to thank me. He gave me this weird half-smile. What do you mean? I paid for the photographer, the flowers, the tuxes. You didn't mention that. He shrugged. Yeah, I know. But it's easier to give the credit to mom and dad. You know how it is. No, I said I don't. You asked me to help. I paid almost 10 grand. You stood up and made it sound like they did everything. He looked annoyed. Like I was the one causing trouble. Look, it's not a big deal. Everyone knows they paid the big stuff. I'm just trying to keep things smooth. I didn't yell. I didn't cause a scene. I just stared at him. Then I turned and walked away. I didn't sleep much that night. I kept thinking about what he said. It's just easier. Like I was some line item he could delete to make the story neater. By 6 a.m. the next morning, I was wide awake. I made coffee, sat at my kitchen table, and opened my laptop. First, I pulled up the email chain with the photographer. I sent a message asking them to update the invoice and remove my payment. I said the client, Matt, would be handling it directly. Then the florist. Same thing. Then the tux rental place. I called them. Told them I wanted to cancel the deposit and asked them to charge the full balance to the groom. They were confused, but agreed. I sent each vendor Matt's contact info, told them I wouldn't be involved anymore, that the groom would settle things before the ceremony. The ceremony was scheduled for 4 p.m. 2:15, I showed up at the venue. It was a country club on the edge of town. Nice spot, big windows, view of the lake. Tara's family was already there, dressed and smiling. But something was off. A bridesmaid was pacing near the entrance. Someone else was on the phone, whispering urgently. At 3:05, I saw Matt. He was sweating through his dress shirt, tie undone, phone in his hand. His voice was raised. He kept walking in and out of the lobby. The flowers hadn't shown up. The photographer was standing around outside, refusing to shoot until he was paid. The tux rental place had called Matt an hour earlier demanding full payment before releasing the suits. He hadn't realized I canceled the deposit. 2 of the groomsmen had already gone to a nearby department store to buy backup dress clothes. They were wearing off-the-rack jackets and dress pants that didn't match. Matt called me 3 times. I ignored the first 2. The third time I picked up. What the hell, Drew? Yeah? What did you do? The photographer won't start. The florist didn't show. The tux place says they don't have our sizes unless I pay the full amount. I kept my voice calm. I thought it'd be easier this way. You said it yourself. You can't do this. The wedding's in an hour. No, you can't do this. You can't take money from people, erase them from the story, and expect them to smile about it. Silence. Then he hung up. The ceremony didn't start until after 5 p.m. The flowers showed up last minute. Tara's aunt paid out of pocket. The photographer started snapping pictures only after Tara's dad handed over a credit card. Half the groomsmen looked like they were going to prom. And Matt? He looked like he wanted to disappear. I didn't gloat. I didn't say a word. I just sat in the second row with a coffee I brought from home and watched the whole thing unfold. After the ceremony, people were trying hard to act like everything was normal. Smiles felt forced. Tara's mom looked tense. Matt barely spoke to anyone during the reception. He avoided me completely. Not even a glance. The speeches were short. Tara thanked her parents. Matt didn't give a second speech. I think someone told him not to. By the time the cake was cut, you could feel it in the room, something was off. Not just wedding stress. Real tension. I didn't stay long. I left after dinner and went home. I didn't feel bad. I felt finished. 3 days later, I sent Matt an email. Subject line, wedding payments, your responsibility. I attached PDFs of every invoice I had previously covered, florist, photographer, tuxedos. Each now showed his name and balance due. I added a short message, you said it was easier to give them credit. So now it's easier for you to take full responsibility. You owe me nothing because I don't owe you respect anymore. He never replied. But then something strange happened. A week after they got back from their honeymoon, Tara called me. I almost didn't answer when I saw her name. But I picked up. Hey, Drew. I hope it's okay I'm calling. I just wanted to ask something. Sure, I said, surprised. I found some of the receipts. From the wedding stuff. From before the day. I said nothing. You paid for all that, didn't you? The photographer. Flowers, the tuxes. I let the silence hang. Then I said, yeah. There was a pause. Matt told me your parents paid for everything. I didn't even know you were helping. I sighed. It wasn't supposed to be a secret. But I guess he thought it made his life easier. I'm really sorry, Drew. I had no idea. She stopped. Took a breath. There's been a lot we've had to talk about since we got back. That was all she said. But I could tell. Something had cracked. Over the next month, I heard pieces from people in the family. Matt was having trouble. Tara's parents were upset. She'd asked to see their financial records and learned Matt had lied about more than just the wedding. He'd taken money from her savings to cover a few of the bills without telling her. He said it was just to smooth things over. Apparently, she started spending a lot of time at her sister's place. One night, I got a text from our cousin Jordan. You hear about Matt and Tara? I called him. They're in counseling, he said. Tara gave him an ultimatum. Full honesty or she's out. I didn't feel joy hearing that. Just quiet anger. Not at Tara. At Matt. Always cutting corners. Always pushing problems onto other people. Then came the final twist. Our mom called me. That was rare. Can you come by the house this weekend? She asked. Is this about Matt? A long pause. Yes. We found out some things. I think it's time we talked. So I went to my parents' house that Saturday afternoon. Just like old times. Same two-story home with the red brick front. Same creaky front door that never got fixed. But the mood inside was nothing like the past. Dad was in his recliner. He looked tired, like something had finally worn him down. Mom sat on the couch and patted the spot next to her. Sit, Drew. Please. No small talk. No coffee. She got right into it. Matt came over last night, she said. He was a mess. He told us everything. Everything? I asked. She nodded. About the wedding, the payments, that you helped and he took the credit, that you pulled your payments before the ceremony. I waited. He said he panicked. Thought if Tara knew he hadn't paid for anything, she'd think he was a loser. So he lied. Yes, she said softly. I turned to Dad. And you? He looked at me. No anger, just tired eyes. I should have asked more questions. We assumed he had it under control. And when he thanked us at dinner, we figured you were okay with it. You didn't say anything. Would you have cared if I had? I asked flatly. He looked down. Didn't answer. Mom cleared her throat. There's more. About the money. Tara found bank statements. Matt took out a personal loan in her name. I blinked. What? She didn't sign anything. But he had access to her documents. Her credit card. He used her identity to apply. Jesus. She's furious. She's threatening charges unless he pays it off immediately. He's trying to get a second loan to cover the first one, but his credit's wrecked. Now I was sitting stiff. My brother wasn't just an idiot, he committed fraud. Against his wife. I stared at the carpet. Then Mom said something I didn't expect. We think he needs help. Real help. I looked at her. You mean rehab or a therapist? She shook her head. We want to bring in a lawyer. Get him to sign power of attorney over his finances. Before he drags us all down. It was the first time I'd heard my mother talk about Matt like he was a problem. Not a victim. Not a dreamer. A threat. I sat there for a long moment. Then I asked, and what do you want from me? Dad spoke now. We want you to talk to him. He won't listen to us. But maybe he'll listen to you. I laughed once, hard and dry. Why would he listen to me now? He spent his whole life stepping over me. Mom touched my arm. Because I think he's finally scared. The next day, I drove to Matt and Tara's house. It was quiet. Her car wasn't in the driveway. Just his. I knocked once. He opened the door a few seconds later, looking like hell. Hair messy, eyes bloodshot, wearing the same hoodie from a week ago. Drew, he muttered, stepping aside. Come in. I walked in. The place was a mess. Pizza boxes, unopened mail, clothes on the floor. I stood near the door. You want to talk? I asked. He nodded, walked into the living room, and sat on the edge of the couch. I screwed up. Yeah. I didn't want her to think I couldn't handle things. That I wasn't enough. So you lied. To her. To everyone. And you stole from her. He covered his face with his hands. I thought I could fix it before she noticed. You used her name to take out a loan, Matt. That's a crime. He didn't respond. Mom and Dad want you to sign power of attorney. Let them manage your finances. He looked up at me, startled. What? No, they can't do that. They can if you agree. And they're ready to go to court if you don't. Silence. Then he looked at me. Why are you even here? To see me fail? You got your revenge, right? I stepped closer. No, Matt. I didn't get revenge. Not yet. His eyes widened. What I did at the wedding, that was me stopping myself from being walked on again. That wasn't revenge. That was me standing up. He shook his head. You wanted to humiliate me. I nodded. Yeah. And I did. Because you humiliated me. You erased me to make yourself look better. Tears welled up in his eyes. I messed everything up, Drew. Yeah, I said. And now you're going to fix it. You're going to sign the papers. You're going to pay back Tara. And you're going to tell the whole family what you did. He looked up like he wanted to argue. I stopped him. Or I'll do it for you. I have the receipts, the emails, the texts. I'll show everything. You'll be lucky if Tara doesn't press charges. He sat there frozen. Then finally he nodded. Okay. No more excuses. Okay. A week later, we sat in a lawyer's office. Matt signed the papers. My parents took over everything, his accounts, his debts, even sold his car to start paying back Tara. Tara moved out officially 3 days later. Served him with divorce papers the next week. The last time I saw Matt, he looked like a hollowed-out version of himself. He didn't even fight it. He just nodded when the server handed him the envelope. At dinner a few days later, my dad pulled me aside. "You were right," he said. "We should have listened to you years ago." I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. I didn't win. I didn't get anything back. But Matt lost. He lost Tara. He lost our parents' support. He lost his freedom to spend recklessly. And worst of all, he lost the mask he'd worn for years, the one that made everyone think he had it together. And me? I learned that silence doesn't earn respect. But taking a stand? That does. Even if it costs you your family.